Ngā mihi kia koutou mo te haere mai kei konei. He tino hari ko taku nāku, kei te kitia kia koutou. Ko wai au, ko Tracey-Leigh Te Paa taku ingoa, ki te taha o te tōku pāpa, nā te whakauē ia ki te taha māma, te raroa Ngāti whātua kaipara tūwhare toa me Waikato hoki. Ko au te māma o Manaia, ko au taku mahi, kei te whakaora, kei te whakawātia nā tangata. Mea, kei te wātia te whare tangata o nā wahine. Kia ora. Kia ora koutou. My name is Tracey-Leigh Te Paa. I am a traditional Māori healer. I've been in this line of mahi going into my 13th year. I work with mirimiri romi, mirimiri being more the kōrero and the energetic exchange that I have with my clients. Romi is more the body work, so removing stress, pain, trauma out of the cellular memory of the body. I also work with women and cleansing and clearing the womb and so the whare tangata and the taiawa, so the vagina, from trauma, from sexual violation, from abortion, miscarriage, stillbirth, and even the energies that we exchange with our intimate lovers from the past. So it's about kind of clearing those spaces so we can reconnect in. I'm a teacher, I'm a mama first and foremost to my son, who is 13, and he is my world, and he's a reason why I do what I do. My kaupapa tonight is our connection to papatuanuku. So when I think about papatuanuku, this kaupapa was quite difficult for me, and I thought it was going to be kind of easy. I thought it was something that I would be able to relate to. When we look from a Māori perspective, what is papatuanuku? What does she do? Who is she? And we look at papatuanuku, and she is the land, she is the Mother Earth, she is the divine feminine. And the things that she does is like our sanctuary. She is the creator of all living things. She is so powerful. She sits and she holds space. She's a nurturer. And for Māori, we align woman to papatuanuku. We align woman to the land. The way in which we treat the land is a reflection of how we treat our wahine, how we treat women. We sit in a place of ownership. We sit in a place of possession within the lands. We do the same with our women. We possess them. We have ownership over them. We are coming through a new stage now, and I see the beauty of our women and how we rise. How are we rising from a place of oppression? How we are rising from the shadows, really, and kind of stepping into our power. There was lots of kōrero tonight about hormones and about self-care, which is really important for us as women, the way in which we work in collaboration. We're really powerful when we are together, but we have to actually clear the things that sit within our whare tangata, that sit in the womb, so we can actually connect to each other. My connection to papatuanuku is through my womb. It's through my whare tangata. It is the connection of the line to my mother. It's a connection to the line to my son. It is my responsibility to clear these out so I can stand in my power and be who I was created to be. When I look at working with women, it's such an amazing place to be, because you see women kind of really coming into themselves. When we kind of move the stuff that sits within the cellular memory of our body, we connect back in. So connecting back in that way allows us to connect to papatuanuku. For me, my mother died when I was 27, so nearly 20 years ago. She was my sanctuary, she was my nurturer, she was with the place that I could stand in the world, the place that I belonged. When she died, it was one of the most traumatic experiences for me. And I spoke about this the last time. When her tupapaku, when her body was laying in the hospice and I got to go and be with her, I hopped underneath the sheet with her and I pulled back my top so I could feel her skin against mine. Her skin at that stage was still warm. I wanted to infuse the feeling of her skin that was my sanctuary and had been my sanctuary since I was a little girl. I wanted that infused within the cellular memory of my skin. I never wanted to forget that connection with her. When she passed over, it was a really, really hard time for me. And I kind of went looking to try and find my connection to a mother. You know, my mother had really mothered me. She'd loved me, she'd made me independent, she'd made me strong. As many people know me, I'm out the box. Like, I am so far out the box. My view on the world is very different. And it took me a long time to come to acceptance of that's who I am. You know, I now accept that that's who I am and I will kick that shit in. Like, and I'm okay with it and I love it. Because that's my job, is to actually make others look from another perspective. Not to accept what you're told. To actually find your own truth. Find your own path and carve that shit out. I went looking for my connection to a mother. I found it in my friends. I found it in other relatives, but it was so disconnected. This kaupapa for me has been really hard to write about, and I kind of realised today, you know, for Māori, we call the placenta the whenua. The whenua means land. So when we have our babies, traditionally, and we do it more so today than we ever have, we would actually plant our baby's placenta and connect into papatuanuku. So it grounded them. So when our babies are coming through the arai, when we're carrying our babies, they are so connected to the gods. And one thing you've got to understand about Māori is that we believe and we do whakapapa back to the gods. That's our genealogy. So we have a right to invoke different things. When we use things like takutaku, which are incantations, when we use kaupare to wrap ourselves up and to keep our whānau and our community safe, that's our right because of the DNA in which we carry and the DNA in which we come from. And we're all the same, right? So we all whakapapa back to those gods. So the gods, the thing about the gods is they have their own issues. They're not kind of, you know, pure, more pure than anybody else. They went through their wars. They have their own issues. They are real just like we are. And we come from those gods. And that's the beauty of the Māori gods, is we don't kind of pretend that we don't have those issues. You know, we embrace them. We see that when we're allowed to express our emotion, that it actually forces movement. It forces passion. It forces shit to move. Embracing who we are and what we feel. Feelings are meant to be felt, right? And not just the joy, but the anger, you know, the depression. I have clients come to me and they're like, you know, oh, I've been really depressed. I'm like, that's good. Feel it, be in it. Be depressed, stay in bed for the day. Man, make it 2 if you have to. As soon as we start acknowledging our feelings, they can move. As soon as we honour the feelings in which are coming through, they can move. They don't get embedded within the cellular memory of the body. They don't become blockages or imbalances or illness. One thing you've got to realise is how powerful you are. We are the creators. We are the same as land because everything living comes from us. Exactly like my friend said. You know, it is about we are the creators, we are the manifestors. And when this is moving, when this is clear, you can manifest some incredible shit. You are really powerful as a woman. That is our connection to papatuanuku. Today, I realised why my connection to papatuanuku was so difficult was I came from a generation where the ritual of burying the whenua, burying the placenta, and connecting me back into the land wasn't a ritual that was valued. It wasn't an acceptable ritual within society at that time. And what I realised is my placenta, my whenua, probably ended up in a drain, quite possibly ended up in, burnt or just thrown in a bin. So I didn't have that connection to papatuanuku. So when I was thinking about it today, I realised that was a disconnection. I've been trying to get back there. One way that I got back there was by being a mama and carrying my son, and it was the most amazing experience for me. I know it's not the best experience for everyone, but for me, it was so beautiful. Feeling him grow within me, knowing that, quite scary because it's kind of my karma, and it is now because he is totally me. And my mother was totally when you have a child, this child is going to put you through the hell that you put me through. And I was just whatever. But yeah, it's so that karma's coming around again, and it's coming around hard. But he is my teacher, and it has been an amazing experience being a mama. But what was important to me when I was carrying him was that his whenua had to go back into back in and connected to papatuanuku. And I didn't know why at the time, and now I know, that was kind of 13 years ago. But I know now, and these things that don't look clear at the time, they become clearer. I understand why I feel disconnected from papatuanuku, and that is my constant wānanga to keep that connection strong. To connect to her, I have to connect to myself. Papatuanuku is all about relationships. She has many relationships that weave in and out, around her, above her, below her. We learn from those relationships. Tonight and today it's been raining. For Māori, we have a tikanga around picking rongoa. So when we pick our plant medicine, we're not allowed to pick it when it's raining. The reason we're not allowed to pick it when it's raining is because Ranginui, the Sky Father, and papatuanuku are actually connecting, and they're connecting in an energetic, intimate way. It's a very tapu space, it's a very sacred and honouring space. And so one of the reasons, the main reason, we're not allowed to go and pick rongoa while it rains is honouring their space. When I look at them, it doesn't need to be a physical connection. They're actually connecting on an energetic level. And we've lost that knowing of how we do that. We connect, within our relationships, within our intimacy in a real physical kind of manner. And they show us how we connect and how we need to connect. And it's really important. And so it's reading the tohus of our gods, because they will show us how we should be connecting. Exchanging energy that is uplifting and beautiful together. It's just relearning the ways that we do that. It's extremely powerful. There's a lot of kōrero around the ikura. There's lots of writings for Māori and Māori women and how we used to celebrate and how we used to. When we had our ikura, our menstrual cycle, we would totally come together. Our men would take over in society, and we would be together. We would share wisdom, we would wānanga together. You would learn how to be a beautiful woman who embodied her sexuality, who embodied her body, who embodied the wairua of being a woman in those times. When our men were anxious going to war, they would sit between the legs, with their head between the legs of a woman who was bleeding. For us, a woman who was bleeding was revered. It meant more numbers. It meant the tribes were strong. We are just starting to go back to that, where there is no shame around our womb, where we are empowered in that space, where it is a beautiful thing. We would take the wrappings from our ikura with blood on it, and our men would wrap it around the top of their taiaha to go into war, because it was protectant and it was powerful and it was potent. It was never pollutant. The anxiety would leave our men when they would sit between the legs of a woman who was bleeding. We would also take those wrappings and we put them in the whare, so the marae in the walls, because it would protect the hapu, the whānau, the community. Those are our ancient practices. Those are practices that we should all be upholding. There should be no shame around our womb. Our womb is powerful. It is beautiful. It creates life. That is our connection to papatuanuku. I think that's enough wisdom shared tonight. You all look a little bit shocked. No. So, ngā mihi kia koutou. I hope you took a little bit back into your kitea with you tonight. Ngā mihi kia korua for this event, and to my sisters, standing here tonight with them was beautiful, and I learnt a lot about what I need to do going forward. Ngā mihi kia koutou.